Hello, Nesties. Yes. Hello, Deputy Sir Austin. Thanks for showing up for this unscheduled shift. We are live on patrol and we are going retro. Hey, Fairy Nymph. I knew you'd be here. So this is the very first ever live on patrol that Sheriff of Ramsey County has ever done. Ever. Hey, FW11. Hey, Deputy Maz. The first one ever. And Bob is behind the wheel. There is a lot that's different. So I'm curious to see, what they've done since then, because we're coming in kind of late in the game, but this is the very first one from the start. So let's get started. Everyone, do you have your badges? Members, please make sure you have your badges affixed to your bulletproof sports bra and the handcuffs ready. We might need to make arrests, okay? Yes, we can time travel and we can make arrests. In the past, of course we can. We can do anything we want. We're the Nest. Hey, Andromeda. Hey, all right, let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. That's our siren. I'm just trying to get the sheriff amped up. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, welcome.
Hey, thank you.
Welcome to the Live at the Sheriff's Office.
Live at the Sheriff's Office.
We're just over on Marshall Avenue right now. I'm on
All right.
patrol. I try to patrol 2 to 3 days a week for a few hours. You hear the radio in the background. Hope that's not too disturbing. Just going by the reception for the funeral for Bajan Adams, our latest homicide victim, was today over at New Hope Church, and the reception was at Dunning. So the reception's just wrapping up here at Dunning. Got shot up at Western and Concordia. Both Minneapolis and St. Paul are on record pace to set
Starting off with a trauma dump.
homicide records this year.
May God rest his soul. Do you need me to boost his audio? Because it's as loud as
So
it will
far,
go.
it's been a relatively quiet night. There are 4 or 5 calls in the pending
Just let
queue.
me know, because he seems quiet.
We do anticipate a busy Friday night. But right now, I'm eastbound on Marshall, coming up on Lexington. Now, obviously, if we come across some confidential stuff, I'll have to turn the camera off. The audio that you're hearing from the police radio is something you can listen to
Thanks.
on any scanner app.
Oh, that's
Ramsey
true.
County has
That's
not yet
true.
encrypted any of the audio.
Okay, right.
But
And
this
we
is
don't
the
want
first
that.
for us live on patrol. So if you can, I can't read the.
Yes, you should not read the chat while driving,
Can't
Sheriff.
actually read the comments, so I apologize for that. But you can text me text me to that phone 651-448.
Oh,
3810.
Do you really- well, he's-
651-448-3810.
I was going to say, do you really want to put that out there? But he is the sheriff. It is a public phone number, after all. Hey, Fiesta, Darkest Coven, we got Fairy Nymph, Cryptomeria, Saint is All, Becky W., Iron Chef, Andromeda, FW11, Crafty Ninja, Maz, FW11. All right, answer Austin first in the nest. This is the very first ever live on patrol. He even sounds a little bit nervous, right? Let me see. What date was this? This was 4 years ago. This was January 31st, 2021. So this was during pandemic. Oh. Do you have to test our deputies? Do you mean our firearms before we take off?
Chance to stop, we can answer questions. We did get a question from the first video from about Rice Street. The Rice Street office is definitely reopening. I talked to the troops there. They'll be on their bikes again this next week. So I know that during COVID we haven't really been around, but we'll be back on Rice Street. Probably noticed that car in front just barely made that green light.
Oh, actually, I didn't notice. You're pretty
Don't
sharp
do a
there,
ton
Sheriff.
Of traffic stops unless it's very egregious.
Deputy Cat.
286.
Try to spend time,
Okay.
you know,
Building the community.
working on the violence and some of the
Right, right,
more serious crimes that are out
right,
here.
right.
Um,
Okay. Hey, Anna
but when I
Gags.
cross over 94 here, I'm going to go back into my my home district. When I started back in the beginning, it used to be the A1 precinct up here on University and Lex.
Mm-hmm.
Spent my early years patrolling University Avenue
We did, Becky
from
W.
Western to Snelling.
We did have some impaired
Frogtown district.
Nesties on
Still
patrol
have a soft spot
on Friday. Yes, we did.
for that district, and
But they admitted it,
You know, I
so
love-
I have to give them that.
love being on
They came forward.
the streets up here in University Avenue.
They
Of course,
said,
things have changed.
they
but
said, I'm high.
it's still
Oh, okay.
it's still a great place to work.
Why don't you get
We
in the
have
back
had a
seat?
lot of shootings. You know, this Frogtown area has been
Good.
one of the leading areas for people to get shot.
Oh, God.
Clearly, a lot of it's gang related.
Yeah.
To cut through it, I know that some people are afraid to say the gang word, but
Yeah, hey, it is what it is.
we've long had
Mm-hmm.
gang problems. Actually, gangs started here in the cities in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
Both the Gangster Disciples and Crips
Oh, my.
moving here.
He's naming them. Oh, Bob. He's naming the gang's Gangster Disciples and the Crips. Oh, my God.
Chicago and Los Angeles,
Oh, my God.
and it's evolved and escalated since then.
Oh, my God.
Unfortunately, a lot of our younger kids
Listen, Bob.
are finding that
Mm-hmm.
that's the only alternative family they have, and that's a longer discussion.
That's
You know, I
very,
spent
yes.
4 years
True.
in charge of the juvenile unit here in St. Paul.
Thank you, Deputy.
And, clearly, there's a lot of needs and assets that kids don't get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Cause them,
371.
cause them to
Absolutely.
look for alternative
families.
family structure.
It's true.
But having said that, it's our job to
It even
to help
happens in chats on
get them
YouTube.
back on track and not allow them to victimize each other or
Mm-hmm.
other people.
Absolutely.
University in Victoria here,
Okay.
best steakhouse on the right.
The steakhouse.
Historically, back in the 70s and 80s, this was
Story.
a den of
Story time.
prostitution.
What?
Up,
Listen to how much juicier he was back then. He's like, this was a den of prostitution back in the day. Now it's a steakhouse. Bob, how do you know that? Is it because you were in law enforcement? Or did you know? Anna, we are doing the very first Live on Patrol that ever existed, that ever happened. This was in 2021. So he was juicier back then. He was giving us gang names, houses of prostitution, and I'm curious to see in the last 4 years how much crime has improved. Because we're in the same county. He says he's expecting a busy Friday night. We haven't had a busy Friday night past couple nights, so I'm really curious to see how this goes.
On
Yeah,
University.
good stories.
And most of that's evolved away. Isn't much street prostitution left out here in St. Paul. Of course, the light rail wasn't here.
Midnight files, go to 4, please.
I've got to keep the radio on in case we hear something.
On a Sunday, on the Lord's
important
Day.
here, a call we want to run in on. We just I passed,
202 is looking for the east midnight.
passed Johnny Babies back there at University and Chatsworth. Really, the owner there, Jonathan Price, great guy. He eventually sold it. You know, it's tough to control what happens in the parking lot. And of course,
True.
that was our first homicide of 2019 there in the parking lot of Johnny Babies at
Johnny
University
Babies.
in Chatsworth.
Wow. Hey, Melissa. Hey,
So if
chat
you got any
baby.
questions, feel
Yeah.
free to text me at that
we
number.
can text him. Did anyone take the phone number down?
651-448-3310.
Oh my God.
You know, you're hearing a lot of radios in the
I
background.
wonder if that number is still in service.
If you have a scanner, there are 3 main precincts for the city of St. Paul.
We'll text you next Friday, Sheriff.
Channel 1 is the Western
Yeah, there's overtime
District.
pay,
Channel
yes.
2 is the Central District.
This is
right
training.
Now we're in the Western District. And then Channel 3 is the East Side.
East Side?
And then the suburbs have 3 channels as well. Mm-hmm. And the West, Ramsey West is New Brighton, Roseville, and Mounds View.
I didn't hear anything.
Central is
Copy 373 for 7th and 8th.
Sheriff's Office.
4 to 5 shots from the intersection. If you hear anything else.
It's just a call on shots fired over on Bates Street.
Uh-oh.
Central is the Sheriff's Office, and then the Ramsey County East frequency is Maplewood, North St. Paul, and White Bear Lake. So there are 6 frequencies going at one time. I try to scan as many as I can. Sometimes I have 4 radios going, but my wife tells me it's annoying to have all those radios on when we're talking. Feel free to share this video with your friends. I hope their comments are respectful. But,
Your wife is right, Sheriff. Those radios can get pretty
Of
loud.
course, free speech.
Yeah, I found an archive channel.
So we're headed toward the Capitol. You might be able to see the Capitol up ahead there.
And it's good for us to get this training because it shows the history of the Sheriff's Department over the last 4 years. And yes, we're starting with episode 1. Yeah, I found a whole archive channel for Live on Patrol.
And
It's good
when
training.
we get to Western,
Maybe I should put
right
training in
here,
the title,
Western is the border between
Yeah.
the West Sector.
Let me do that.
Central,
Hang on a second.
1219 7th Street. Gray,
West on
2-door Dodge
Patrol.
Challenger.
Oh.
West and eastbound on 7th. No plate input this time. Information is 2106.
So a gray Dodge Challenger was just stolen downtown on 7th Street. No plate information at the current time. A lot of time owners don't have their own plates.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. There was a vehicle that just taken a gray 2-door Dodge Challenger.
Gray
no plate
2-door
given.
Dodge Challenger.
The owner of the vehicle drove after a female on the Common motorcycle.
Pulling over to let this fellow go by. So anyhow, we're going north on Western. This is the border of the Western District
267.
and the Central District.
Okay.
Sometimes the call will get dispatched on the Western District, and the cops on the Central might not hear the call. So
Okay. We can fill in.
very
That's good to
important
know.
to be able to notify both on both sides
Is anyone taking notes?
of the street.
Copy.
Maybe we should
Go
take
up
notes.
Here at Thomas.
If Rosebud comes in, I know she'll have her notepad. Be all set.
287.
Yeah, we have an air fryer in the back. Yeah. It's all charged up and ready to go. I got a rechargeable
I'm trying to
one,
let you listen to the radio a little
One
bit.
QE.
so we don't have to plug it in and have a fire risk. You were young and naive in 2021, Ottersenhofen. Aw.
167 108.
So 167, that means he's a car that works in the Western District, because the Western District is the
Hey, Officer
100
Gunther.
cars.
199.
Illegible writing. Yeah, as long as you can read it, it's fine.
Showing 454 in the portal. Try to raise them. Copy. I think we can handle that.
So then at Como here, the border between Western and Central takes a little zigzag and goes over to Dale.
Okay. Anyone got a map? Seems like St. Paul's very spread out. Hey, just Jamie.
Not
I've
only
seen you
we're
all
on a
over the
record
place tonight.
homicide rate, but we're on a record. We have a 100% increase in shots fired this year.
100%
Just in
increase?
Shots fired, and
And this was pandemic time.
40% increase in homicides, but then
40%
increase in people
increase?
getting shot.
Oh my God. It was
So
bad.
it's,
But this was a year
been
into
a
the
troublesome
pandemic,
year, and
so
last year,
people
August
were
and
losing it.
September were our busiest months.
wow.
Busiest months.
That's
Hey, for those of
crazy.
you that just joined us, thanks so much. I know that
No problem, Bob.
a lot of you didn't catch it early. This is the first episode of Live with the Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, it even had a different
We're on
name.
patrol in the Western District.
Live with the Sheriff's Office.
I'm trying to listen to the radio here while I talk.
Multitasking sheriff. Becky W's drawn a map. Awesome.
We're just talking a little bit about the homicide rate being extremely high, and the funeral today for the most recent young man, Bajan Adams. Reportedly a great kid, and tons of family members gathered there at the funeral. Pastor Rev Spence, good friend of mine, actually he works for the sheriff's office now, it administered the eulogy today, and it's it's just a sad thing that we're not able to stop people from getting killed on our streets.
Yeah, but this was a tough time in everyone's life worldwide.
After we keep this program going, we're going to invite you all to a meeting. I don't know if it'll be virtual or real, but
obviously virtual,
have a real
Bob.
discussion about what the community's expectation is. Community expectation regarding solving crime, because we can't let this continue to slide. I know Chief Axtell's very, very concerned about what's happening, and frankly, you can't cut $9 million from the police budget and have anything but more crime. I mean, it's when you cut that much, it really means less squads in your district, slower response times, less people caught, less investigations, and ultimately, more shootings. So I don't know how they're going to figure out what they can do, but I can tell you this, having been out here for a few years, I've never seen a rapid increase in violence that we're seeing now. We're going up Como here, westbound on Como.
Okay.
It's one of the oldest roads in St. Paul. It used to be wagons used to go out here.
Wagons?
To Como Lake on what was called Territorial Road out to the territory.
During the gold rush?
And
no way, Word Nerd. Word Nerd, tell us about your crazy night on Friday. Ramsey County's hiring for your occupation a librarian. You were tempted to apply. Are you local to the area? So right now it's 51 degrees in St. Paul. This was 4 years ago, so not there. But current humidity 63%. Okay, that's not too bad. Yeah, Word Nerd, you were going to tell us about your crazy night out on Friday. We were just ending when you came in last time.
We did have the cup and Connie's cone. The cup and cone there did get robbed here recently.
Oh no, Connie's got robbed? Hey, Tater Tot Hot Dish.
Radio for a minute here.
Okay.
The vehicle's heading back to James Eugene Fruppert out of Roseville.
Oh, I thought we were listening intently.
Yeah, this is where it's part of my original district back in 1977.
Whoa.
Of course, the road, those of you that have been around that long, you know the roads were different out here. And we remodeled in the 80s. We changed the road route.
Wow.
And we're going to go back east on Maryland. I know if I don't fully stop, you guys will be sending me texts.
Yeah, citizens arrest.
I'll make sure I do.
Absolutely. Fletcher began as sheriff in 2019. His term ends in 2027.
No, I do have
yes, he is rerunning.
Phone calling in this car, so if I need to make a phone call, actually I can by pushing a button, in case you're wondering if I'm gonna violate any laws.
In case you're wondering if I'm gonna violate any laws. No, I haven't heard from Baked Korean since that day he came in. I haven't even seen him around. Word Nerd says, I'm in Charlotte, but willing to move. So yeah, a dude knocked my entirely full vodka can onto my white shirt. Then he paid for a triple to replace it, plus a shot, plus $100 bill. It was wild. Wow, it sounds like you felt bad, huh? Wow. Oh. Was it a favorite shirt? Have you been able to do anything with it to clean it? Oh, that stinks. Hey, have a sumo? Yeah, that's very nice.
Right there. Yeah. Great high school. Roy Magnuson works at the sheriff's office now. He's just lives down the street here on Wheelock and taught there for many years. He's our public information officer. We'll probably have him on live sometime.
Oh, it was a different
For those of
person
you that
then.
remember Roy Magnuson, just an outstanding individual and great football coach, wrestling coach as well. So here we are. We're up at the Connie's Cone.
Oh,
Can't imagine the terror of having some guy come in there and rob you. And,
you're at work chilling, Mares? 40 more minutes?
Godbout's restaurant used to be across there, and actually, someone can remind me of what the name of the restaurant was.
Have you tried anything with hydrogen peroxide yet? What was it? I was just watching something about stain removal. Hydrogen peroxide is definitely, but it activates under light. So you don't want to like put it on. You don't want to like just dump it into your wash and then close the lid. Like you'll want it to, but you have to dilute it. But that is something that can definitely take a lot out. You were dumping ice out of your purse, ended up needing to replace my purse as well? No. Oh my God. That's very unfortunate. So what, did he like bump into you? Was he drinking? Was he drunk? Or what do you think? Oh, that sucks. Oh my God. Hence the $100 I see. Otters and elephants. It's like she uses Rain-X on herself, Foodie Beauty. Pours water on herself, it just rolls off.
Not unusual, I have to be honest with you. I've been in, just since coming back for the last year and a half here, I've been in 25 chases, some of which I was involved with myself, some of which St. Paul or other departments started. There's a fair amount of, Coachman, that was the restaurant, Coachman. Fair amount of controversy over whether to chase or not to chase. And, every department is developing a policy. No one wants to see an innocent person get hit.
Absolutely.
But one of the things that's happened is
271.
the criminals know that most cops aren't going to chase them. And so even if they've robbed someone at gunpoint,
30 miles zero.
they flee. And so we've had a series, you can go back on my Facebook page or the sheriff's office, we had a series of carjackings and robberies with young kids.
Young
That
kids?
are fleeing. And they just continue to shoot at people.
Black stripes.
Hang on one
It has
second.
louvers on the rear of it.
166, check your status.
I am going to flip the radio to channel 2. We're on the Central District. We're over here at 444
You said louvers on the rear?
Maryland. We had a homicide here.
Louvers on the rear window, and then there's a front black grill on the vehicle. It went studio northwest from O'Reilly's.
Let me just pull over and
2012
check out.
Dodge Challenger, gray with black striped louvers on the rear window, front black grille. Party's phone is inside. That's in northwest from O'Reilly's.
That's the stolen Challenger we're looking for.
Okay. Keep an eye out, Nesties. This was 4 years ago. We could still be out there.
And back eastbound. Eastbound on Maryland.
Okay.
24.
Surprisingly, that camera seems
I'll take that domestic.
Yeah, the camera looks
seems to work
good.
pretty
Copy.
good.
Yeah.
196 Briggs.
Maybe even, well, it's kind of light out though still too. Maybe that's why.
On the porch and requesting should be revoked.
That's the place we looked up with the street tacos, is it?
Usually,
That's
usually
funny.
I start patrolling around 10.
Getting to know our way around, huh?
2 in the morning.
Yep.
That's our busiest time.
Okay.
Things. We have had earlier spats now with restaurants and stuff being closed. But,
Oh, I'll bet.
now that the restaurants are open, the crime has moved back a little later. It used to be for a while with everything closed at 10 o'clock that the criminals were committing their crime earlier because they had more victims out
Wow.
there.
Oh no. Jeez.
So I'm coming up on Rice in Maryland, and the northeast corner is the home of Tin Cup.
Okay.
My good friend Gidget Bailey has awesome cheeseburgers there. Well,
That's the place
a
in the
variety of other
thumbnail.
food as well. But stop in and see her.
Okay.
She She was very helpful in helping the owner of the auto parts place help us get a location on Rice Street. And but Gidget does unbelievable things for the community, helping fundraise for important needs, but also just helping people out that are
In need.
less fortunate.
Good. That's
You know,
awesome.
free dinners, handing out dinners during COVID as well. I'm going to turn
Oh, wow.
into the parking
That's
lot
excellent.
here.
I know. I wonder if Rev was
See
on
what's
staff then, huh?
happening.
Yeah. It'll be
Dollar
cool to
Tree's
see how
closed,
things
of course.
develop over time, you know?
I'm not going to
Like, when did Tight Pants Sean join the sheriff's department?
She might be working at the Clover. She owns another restaurant up in Vadnais Heights as well.
Anyone eat dinner at this hour?
Like I was saying, I usually start around 10. How's it going?
It's about 10:30 where I am, so
Great food here.
I won't be eating. Sometimes what I do is I'll take like some frozen turkey meatballs and just heat them up, and then I pour some pasta sauce over that, heat it up again, then put some mozzarella on top of that.
So we're in the Central District
Heat it up
now.
again.
On,
Then I just
I
eat
should
that.
probably turn that radio
like,
up
without
so you can
pasta
hear
or anything.
Some of the stuff happening. We're in the Central District.
45% of Bergen LaFont.
Maryland's one of the busiest streets in the city. 15,000 plus people are on here every day.
Really?
Snelling Avenue is really the busiest with 30 or 35.
Mary says, you stop. I legit have a recipe pulled up for chicken meatballs. What? Weird. And it's very satisfying. It's very satiating. Even like without, you don't need pasta or rice, any of that. Just like some turkey meatballs, sauce, and mozzarella. And maybe even like a little Parmesan. That's funny, huh? Wow. Wow. You had a peanut butter sandwich, Officer Gunther? Usually, I don't know. I don't keep myself to a strict schedule, like for meals or any of that. I just eat when I'm hungry, basically. So I don't look at the clock or the time. So I don't feel like, oh, I'm having dinner now and it's going to be a larger portion of food. I don't look at it that way. I just eat what I feel like is enough to satiate me for the moment. And then I'm done. Then if I get hungry later on, I'll eat something else. That's kind of how I do it. I don't have any real structure. Hey, Meowsita, nice to see you over here. You had sketty earlier? Yeah. Can't do much creamy dairy in this household, but we will do mozz, cheese, feta, or parm. There you go. There you go. And I just get the frozen turkey meatballs because, I don't know. You know.
1,000. But
Usually skip breakfast. The last 3 days been chowing down on omelets. Nice.
Well, for clarification,
Ground meat girly.
west, like I said, on View, not 7th Street.
I get the ones at Target.
all right. So that Challenger was down on 7th.
Vehicle left seat on view.
7th and View. That's where it was seen. In case
Oh,
you
I like sharp cheddar too.
text
Yeah.
me if you see a Dodge Challenger with louvers in front of us.
With louvers. Okay.
Sylvan Playground. I remember my little girl Kelsey catching her first fly ball there.
Oh.
She was playing for Phelan, and I was sitting on the hill there, and they hit a fly ball, and she was like 7 years old.
Did you catch it,
Kelsey,
Bob?
And she catches the ball. It's like the first out of the inning. She's so excited. She runs in from the center field and up the hill and gives me a hug.
Oh, that's very
said,
sweet.
Kelsey, it's only one out. And she ran back out there.
Aw. You recognize
Good
this
memory
neighborhood,
there.
Meowsita?
So now she's a nurse practitioner up in Grand
Whoa.
Forks. Has 3 kids of her own.
Oh my God.
Doing great. Married to a farmer
A
in
farmer.
Grand Forks.
Wow.
I'm here in Maryland and Jackson.
You make everything from
Guys, I'm gonna
scratch,
just run
Officer
that red
Gunther?
light.
You get a shawarma style bowl. Oh.
When I first started, right up Jackson here was a junkyard. And we had 6, we called them teams there. And at the junkyard there on Jackson Street was our first central precinct. It was called A2, the A2 precinct. In the office, I didn't work there. I was just trained in there because I worked in A1 over there on University Avenue. But the officers there called themselves the Junkyard Dogs.
Oh no,
I
just
don't know if you
Jamie.
can get nicknames like that anymore.
Are you taking a probiotic?
So obviously that gentleman is in a hurry. We're gonna pace him right now.
Oh, okay. We're pacing him. All right.
Pace him. See how big of a hurry he is.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't do a ton of traffic stops unless it's a careless driving.
Yeah. He said earlier it has to be really bad for him to pull over.
I do on occasion though just pull up alongside people and ask them to slow down.
That's
The
funny.
sheriff's office, the friendly police. Alright, we're crossing over the free. In doing so, we're going to the East Sector, Channel 3.
East Sector.
35E in Maryland. We're going to Channel 3. We'll still scan the other channels, but our primary channel on the radio will be Channel 3. For those of you that are still just joining us, we're out on patrol with the sheriff's office. We're on the east side. We're headed east on Maryland. Of course, the east side has been very busy. Like Frogtown, there's two areas that have been busy with shooting, sort of the Frogtown area and the east side.
Frogtown.
373.
Usually from here south to Minnehaha.
Minnehaha.
I don't want to predict shooting, but I'll be surprised if the next
532.
couple hours we don't
4120.
have some gunfire erupting.
Oh, goodness.
The light rail Central Station, 58 East 5th Street. Commented there's a male who robbed comp the other day, currently at the westbound platform. Possibly has a gun, had previously hit the comp with the gun. Possibly DK.
So that's a
Black on the 35 gray head wrap, gray shirt, gray sweatpants, has a bag with him.
possible robbery down on 5th Street
Okay.
at the platform down there, the light rail platform. Central cars downtown and the west side are in the
Is there another squad that can assist on that?
Central District. You'll hear the two numbers, and the 500 cars are the beat officers downtown.
Yeah, this is the
Car.
very first ever live on patrol.
Copy 420, thanks.
Payne Avenue,
Transit's been advised, but they said it started in St. Paul, so
relatively busy area as well.
283.
Remember, if you want to text me a question, 651
I'll take the fight.
448 3810. 448 3810.
366 and a squad to assist for 987 Flandreau. Have a single report of a male and female physically fighting in the streets.
Oh. Uh-oh.
We're going to sneak over there to 987 Flandreau.
Physically fighting in the
It's a
street.
little ways away from us. That's really down by Case and Flandreau, but
Copy 3.
a male and a female fighting in the street. I'm sure there's a squad closer to that call
That's
than
okay.
us.
We can be back
But
up.
we'll continue to head that way. We're going up to Sam's Dairy. Sam's Dairy up on Maryland. I was there one day
I
when
think he's by
a
himself.
car came by with
164.
paintball machine guns. Started shooting everybody in the parking lot. Of course, we chased them and caught them, but they're kids,
164.
16-year-old kids, take their mom's car and go get a paintball. Of course, you can imagine how many ways that could have gone wrong. Just not good.
Not
1
good.
and 0 traffic.
90.
190 traffic. Arlington
Kind of in the
to
Payne
jail on
Phelan
Silver.
neighborhood now, eastbound on
There were
Maryland.
no plates.
435.
454, you have 166, go to 4, please.
Just peeking at the CAD. You know, every officer has what's called the computer-aided dispatch computer.
Okay.
It's called the CAD terminal. And on that, we can see all the calls that are out, where the officers are, and all the calls that are pending. And so it's a great tool You know, when I started, we didn't have such a thing. And then we upgraded in the 80s to what's called a mobile data terminal. And now they're at a computer-aided dispatch. But frankly, I don't really think you need one, but it's a nice tool. You know, most of these young coppers like this technology.
Coppers?
You know, frankly, when we didn't have technology, our eyes were more on the street. We were looking for stuff, and I got to tell you, we learned the streets. So I don't know
Hey,
if
natural
you know
born
this,
collector.
but in Ramsey County, every
Becky W.
mile is 480 numbers.
Oh.
Like Lexington to
Okay.
Snelling is 1100 to 1580.
What?
Every half mile is 240
Oh,
numbers.
this Midwest
And every
logic of
long
streets,
block
huh?
is 60. And so
Everything's a
Dale
grid,
Street,
huh? I mean,
well,
it's pretty
Dale
organized,
Street
though.
will be 620, and then St. Albans 680, and
It's probably
on and
pretty
on and on.
easy to
Grotto,
get around.
740. The point is, we had to learn our streets and we had to learn our numbers. We didn't have GPS.
Oh, yeah.
And so most of the old-time cops were able to navigate around St. Paul. It doesn't really matter where you go. There's a couple of exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
But 240 numbers to a half mile. It's the same way over here on the east side. It's a little more confusing because the streets aren't laid out
Oh, okay.
like as symmetrical as you would like.
Must be
over here.
older.
But 240 numbers to a half mile. And then
It's fun trivia.
sometimes there's short blocks that are 30 numbers. Sometimes there's short blocks that are 45. But generally the long blocks are 60.
Okay.
So technology has advantages. I'm not opposed to it. I certainly have a CAD terminal in the car to get caught up.
Okay.
But it does take your eyes
Should we
off
pull
the
them
street
over,
at
Bob?
times.
Did you see that car?
And there's no sense in pulling over to get a Google map to figure out where
Cut
you're
off
gonna
that
get to. I mean,
bus.
it's not unusual for that delay to be caused by cops trying to figure out where they're going.
The
We're
camera's
at Hazelwood,
very
eastbound
clear.
on Maryland at Hazelwood.
Way better than it is
And,
now. And this is at
I'm gonna
360.
pull in the same area. There's been several shootings here.
360.
Our St. Paul gang unit, which does an outstanding job,
Hey,
spends a
Patricia.
lot of time here.
360p, and it's super
At any
clear.
given night, anything could happen here.
Anything could happen.
I will greet the
Uh-oh.
patrons and see how things
Greet
are
the
going.
patrons. Yes, let's do that, Sheriff.
How's it going? It's the friendly police. Good to see you.
Guess we didn't have gift cards back then, huh?
How's it going?
It's all right tonight.
Good. It's freaking hot out, huh?
Pretty humid.
Yeah, humid.
Freaking
It got went
hot
up from
out, he
85
said.
degrees to 90 in 2 hours today.
2 hours.
Terrible.
Damn shame.
Terrible.
Better than some motherfucker.
Hopefully it'll cool off.
Holy Spirit.
Patricia Ingalls just gifted 5 Are You Serious memberships. Thank you so much, Patricia. Thank you. Oh, awesome, Patricia. Thank you. Meowsita received one of those. Texas T got one. Norma Mac 83, Magreb Traveler, and Freedom Deep received memberships from Patricia Ingalls. If you're here in the chat now, please give her a shout out. Thank you so much. That is so nice. I appreciate that. Helping the nest to grow while we're in training for future patrols. That is so nice. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you just get out here, oh, this little girl standing by her car, I hope she doesn't see you there. If you just get out and talk to people, they do appreciate you.
Good night, word nerd.
I mean, it's not unusual to have stolen cars roll through here, but for the most part, people are pleasant.
Okay.
What's going on?
Oh, geez. Okay. So, okay. This is starting to make sense. So this was uploaded January 31st, 2021. But as I suspected, this is summertime. So it's still pretty light out. And he starts at 10 p.m. Sounds like he even did back then. Still pretty light out. And he was talking to those guys saying it was hot. I wonder when the original date was.
Now, anything?
It's slow motion
You guys need any masks?
Yeah, man.
Let me see if I can get you some masks. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
6 masks if
it
you
all,
get.
it all depends who you're hanging around with, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple. Hanging
Look
on.
at this car
Here's
beeping at
another
Bob.
one.
Get out of the way.
Oh, here we go. Check this out. Got some more.
Yep,
All
that's
right.
about all. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, you have a good night.
Take care, man.
Thank you.
Giving out masks. Nice. Very crazy times.
Got a little traffic jam here.
Officers at East tonight.
All right. It's the mask patrol. Have a good one.
Hey, everybody, hit the like button, please, if you enjoy being on patrol and training tonight.
All right.
Helps more people see the stream.
Tracy, when you get back to your spot, what do you got? I've got a civil matter that's pending.
A civil matter?
I need this Spanish speaker.
All right, just remember, you got any questions?
We can text him next Friday. See if that number's still in service. Hey,
Text
Bob.
me at 651-448-3810.
It's like it's on TV or something. Like, you can call in now. Really, Fairy Nymph? That's funny.
Back eastbound on Maryland.
I saved a lot on lipstick those years.
Yeah, someone crossing the street here. So back to the whole logistics of
Okay.
there's
Oh,
a lot of different types of police officers. There's no one way to do this job.
true.
You know, you need to have a good variety of personalities out here.
Yeah, I would
You
imagine.
know, most importantly, you just need to have people that have some kindness in their heart and want to make a difference, of course. You know, you can't really train person to people have a good heart, so you got to hire them with a good heart.
That's
I have
true.
some concerns that I'm going to work with
Oh.
John Thompson from when he gets elected next year on
Oh,
broadening the pool of people that we can hire.
oh,
But you know, you need a variety. You need some technical people. Some people love the technology.
Uh-huh.
Some people love being on the street.
So it sounds like they were hiring a type before Bob came along. Like they only hired a certain type of person. You used all the lipsticks that weren't right in the mask years? What do you mean, Sarah Philly? So yeah, it's 82 degrees Fahrenheit in Kuwait right now, which it's 5:42 a.m. Current humidity 28%. So she should really be out and about. Like at this time of day, 82. That's not bad at all.
Here at White Bear Avenue.
We're out there with her.
I'm gonna go south for a little bit.
420, we show me on 532.
So anyhow, it's a pleasant night. You know, it's when it's pouring rain or snow, it's not quite so pleasant. But when it's 84 degrees,
Still sleeping off the rage, yeah.
it's nice being out here. I'm surprised we haven't had more calls. I will tell you that there's a lot of cars. Just looking at the screen here, there's I don't know. I suppose there's 30 calls right now in the city.
Okay.
Nothing totally major. And another 10 calls in the queue pending. You know, the lower priority calls are just kind of held for a while.
Was made. Can you recall this from a burglary two-way suspicious and clarifies? And then can you show up and then assist in the same address, please?
So this is case. Now, when you're going northbound on White Bear Avenue or any street, for instance, and you get to Maryland, you're going to find that Maryland is 1200. Okay? And so
I assumed you meant
go a
pricey.
half a mile
Too pricey to throw away.
You go a half mile south of
Icy pricey
Maryland,
means the same thing.
remember 240 numbers south, you're going to run into Case.
Oh my god.
Case is a half mile south of
Okay,
Maryland.
Bob.
It's 240 numbers, so case is
We have GPS now,
960.
Bob. We don't have to learn this from the very beginning, do we? Better stop at that stop sign.
Relatively quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to turn the, I'm going to pull over and I'm just going to, I hear a few beeps or some questions.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to pull over here.
Who's getting text messages from the audience?
South America.
Who thought it'd be
So-
good?
All right. Somebody asked who is with me. No one's with me. I'm by myself. I do patrol with other people sometimes, but not so much during COVID.
That's smart.
COVID has changed, everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
I usually work the streets for about 4 hours, usually about 10 to 2. But tonight it might be a little earlier. My son's got a football camp in the morning that I got to get him to. So here's a question. Could I explain the difference between the
5383.
police department and the sheriff's department?
Good
I'm going to
question.
drive while I answer that. That's a great question.
Yeah. We're
so
taking notes, class?
Every city,
Okay.
every municipality has the right to have their own police department. And many do. 300 in Minnesota. Many have their own police departments. And the police departments are responsible for responding to calls for service, investigating crimes that occur in those areas. So that is the primary job of the police department. So the sheriff's office, there's one sheriff in every county. There's 87 counties in Minnesota. And the sheriff's office has a set of mandates in statute. One is to run the jail.
Squad 376.
So when people bring prisoners to the jail, when they arrest somebody, they bring them to the sheriff's office at the jail. That's number one. Number two, court security. We're very involved with court security. I'm just going to turn up Flandreau here. I was kind of avoiding going to that call. Remember that call where the man and the woman were fighting in the 900 block of Flandreau? I think the squad's already been here and cleared, but just in case, we'll just go up there a little further ahead. So, sheriff's office has the jail and has court security for all the judges bringing the prisoners to court and protecting the court, etc.
That's
The third
right.
mandate really is
Never really thought of that. I guess that's true.
running water patrol.
Water?
And the sheriff's office is responsible for the water. In fact, as you know,
What?
yesterday
Water.
night we recovered an 11-year-old boy down in Hidden Falls.
Oh.
And so had been drowned a couple days earlier. Terrible thing is we haven't released his name, but there'll be a story in the morning paper. I think the family's talking to the media.
Oh my God.
Terrible thing. People should stay out of rivers. They're just very dangerous with currents and undertows. So you got
Good night,
jail,
Just Jamie.
courts, and water
lakes.
patrol. Now here's
Okay.
what gets interesting.
Water rescue. Yeah.
If a city chooses not to have,
I was thinking like city water supply or something. Isn't it interesting, like your different people's perspective of like what first comes to your mind? Yeah, it's the state of like thousands of lakes or something, right? Creeks too. Yeah. Oh, that's awful.
police department, they can contract with the sheriff's office. And 7 cities in suburban Ramsey County have chosen to do that with us. So we provide primary police service for 7 cities. And those cities have changed over years. Some cities decide to go with a different city. You know, of course, after the Philando Castile case, we took over in Falcon Heights as well.
Okay.
So,
10,000. Wow. Hey, Toasty.
We are the primary police agency for about a third of the county in the suburbs up there. So then,
The Angel of
another
Glass?
thing is, if there's regional problems, such as narcotics, the sheriff's office provides what's called the regional task forces, where all agencies participate to combat crime problems such as drugs, violent offenders, etc. So the police department have their role. Any of the cities that we provide service for at any point could say we're going to provide our own police department, but they find it's more efficient to have supervision. Instead of every city having a sergeant working, we might have one sergeant working that supervises 7 cities.
That makes sense.
That was a great question.
That is a good question. No
There's
problem,
probably some other
Toasty. I like it.
nuances there,
It's
too.
my pleasure. It's nice not to look at Chantel's face and hear her voice, you know?
So I am going to pull over again so I can legally look down at a text
Okay.
and answer a couple other questions. I'm at 7th Street, as you know.
Your city has a
Detour
public
up ahead,
access
but
spring at the municipal complex, so
still
technically
pull
the
over
police
here.
oversee that one water access.
Get some
Interesting.
questions in here.
Hey, Deputy Den.
All right.
We're just in training tonight. This is the
Next
first
question. Am I in a
ever.
marked car? I am not
live
in
on
a marked
patrol.
car. However, I have complete lights, front, back, couple different sirens.
Whoop, whoop. Oh,
So this squad's fully capable of responding. It has stop sticks as well for pursuits.
mm-hmm.
Of course, some of those people saw that light and they're stopping. So,
You freaked them out with your lights
but
and your
it's a
noises.
fully capable squad car. It is pursuit rated.
Hmm.
It is pursuit rated as well.
Yeah, everyone on that street
All right,
panicked.
So, explain the mask order. I'll try to get that. I'll try to get that explained sometime today.
Hands went to 10 and 2 immediately.
Mental health workers and substance trauma forensics. We see challenges between our clients and officers. This includes how clients are approached despite staff advocating. How can the community? Well, we're definitely going to have to figure out a way to get mental health workers working side by side with law enforcement officers.
Definitely.
We either
That's
got to start training
huge.
mental health people to be cops, or we got to pair them up. And because it's a huge issue,
Yes.
70% of the people in our facility, 70% of the people in our facility have mental health issues.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I'm not
I'm going to
surprised.
keep moving here so we can get the radio on. We can maybe get
You want
in
to
the
flatten
middle
some
of
tires?
something going on as well. But the mental health, the chemical addiction. Let's
Sir Philly, I love that. When dogs see a canine officer, do they think, oh no, it's a cop? And they think, act normal, just act normal. It'll be fine. Don't make eye contact.
just face it. There's 3 key issues in our jail. The people in our jail, 75% of them aren't functionally literate to be able to read and
What?
succeed.
Oh my
outside.
God. What?
80% have some form of chemical addiction.
Yeah. That's
drug of choice,
definitely
and
a problem.
70% have mental health issues. So there's
Wow.
lots of work to be done.
Blame it on the cats.
We
Yep.
do train our officers. We've been doing that for years. 20 years ago, some people with mental.
He's talking about Ramsey County, Minnesota. He's the sheriff of Ramsey County. And this was a stream, it seems like it's about 4 years ago. It was uploaded January 31st, 2021. But this was summertime. So I found an archiving channel who has all the old ones. And this was the first ever live on patrol.
Health got injured,
Bravo 552.
but in some cases were shot. I mean, there's been, you're aware of the Barbara Snyder Foundation. I mean, there's just tons of work that needs to be done. Problem is, these officers out here have to have so many different skill sets.
That's true.
And
Very true.
the things can change dramatically
Yeah.
in the course of, I've only fired my gun once
Oh, wow.
at, so it's a car involved in a robbery at the Clark station back on Rice Street. Most cops will never fire their gun, but I'll say this, it's, I guess I did fire a warning shot once. The warning shots used to be legal back in the 80s.
I've fired warning shots
but-
before. Several.
The cops today, it's far more dangerous now than it was back in the 70s and 80s. The level of weaponry that's out there is just threefold as bad as it used to be before the gang and drug problem evolved.
170 to copy in North now, 1 calling Concordia.
That's a felony now?
See if I can get back on the main street there. It's a
spooky.
little more interesting when you got a little more
Oh,
light.
yeah.
Like I said, this is our first
Someone
time
went to his house, right?
to show And appreciate you tuning in and having
Squad
interest.
532.
You never know what's going to happen out here. You just,
532.
Yeah,
that's part of the great
we have
thing
water
about
pistols.
being a police
Mark
officer.
this is stop underneath that PCN. Marked for 420, 283 in transit.
The variety of what can happen and what does happen. It
Copy.
keeps the job interesting.
I'll bet.
It's sad to see that so many Minneapolis officers are leaving the
Yeah, yeah.
Corps.
Yes.
I don't
Derek
really
Chauvin.
know
Yes.
personally any of their leaving, but I know
Derek
from reading the
Chauvin.
news reports
Yeah.
that whole incident was
Yeah.
that third precinct
Yeah.
had an impact on them as well. But,
I'll bet. Let's talk
by
about
and
it,
large,
Sheriff.
I think police officers come on this job because they want to help people. I mean, you know,
That
I
I
was in Boy Scouts.
feel like that is a misconception, and I feel like only good people have that misconception. Like, people think that the helping professions, right, are good, honest people who just want to help, and that's not always the case. Like, I have learned in healthcare that physicians are not always a person who cares about people and wants to help. That's not everybody. We would like to think that. Well, why would you become a doctor if you didn't want to help people? Status for sure. Maybe money, not as much as, well, once your loans are paid off, I guess, right? Maybe a little bit of power, depending on your position. So, you think that, I mean, I've talked to physicians, they have no empathy surgeons, okay? Surgeons, they're really mechanical people. Like, they could easily work on a car in the same way that they work on a person. Like, I used to, in one of my jobs I've had, I would, I don't want to get too detailed, but like orthopedics, all of the little screws and parts and everything, plates, all that stuff, the names for the names that these companies put for these screws, like there's something called like gorilla screws. And it's like, and they have like these machines and they have drills and everything, right? They don't think of that person necessarily as a person. Your orthopedic doctor has zero bedside manner. There you go, Jennifer. Yeah, but he's brilliant, right? He could, yeah. I mean, he might really fix you up really well. And like, you'll never have to go back and you're good to go. But he may not even be a nice guy, a nice person. Yeah, the 4 screws in your back cost more than, oh God, cost more than 1.5 hours for my surgeon. Yes, they do. Do you think insurance has had an influence on that? No, I don't. I've been on both sides. I've been on both sides of that. No, it's not the insurance. I learned a lot. Your mom was a nurse in the OR for 30 years. She has some wild stories about physicians, specifically surgeons, some real assholes. They are. They can be. I would never date a surgeon, ever. Never. I'm betting mine has pet names for his instruments. Yeah, you didn't care about bedside. You cared that he did a good job, and he did. Right. As long as your expectations are managed. Like the sheriff is saying, you can't have a police force or a sheriff's department where, people have like this broad range of skills. People are going to be good at, one thing and maybe not so much at the other. And yeah, if a doctor isn't going to coddle me and be super nice to me, but he's going to do like a bang up job on whatever he's fixing on me, I'd rather have that. Definitely. Science-minded, not always compassionate, but not, but not necessarily evil. Social, emotional intelligence lacks in many careers. True. Same for Suzanne. Your surgeon was great, but bedside manner absolutely sucked. Yeah. And I've known physicians too, where they come from traditional families from overseas, and they go to university here, they go to medical school, and maybe they don't even want to be a doctor, but they're from a traditional family where you have to go into a, quote unquote profession, Like, they want to be able to brag about their son or daughter, and they become a doctor, and they don't even want to be a doctor. Your mom was an RN for 43 years, half in ortho, half in oncology, raised 5 kids while working. Wow. That's a lot. Yeah. Like sales, when they scream at the IT guy because he's a sales guy. You've worked with sales guys. Some are chill. I remember one dude would buy everyone drinks and stuff. Great dude. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, so, the sheriff is saying, oh, yeah, you want to think that they go into to help people, and that's not always the case. People are people. It's an altruistic point of view to look at like, oh, everyone's in the position in life that they should be for all the right reasons. But, as ALR would say, I'm just a human. I'm human, okay? Yeah, everyone has different motivations.
As a younger person, and you want to find a way to be there to help people when they're in need, and this job does provide that. There's nothing better than having the look on a person's face when you help them. I remember
Maghreb Traveler is in the nest thanking, it would be Patricia who got you that membership today. Patricia Ingalls. I think she went to bed, but that's who got it for you. So yeah, next time you see her, that's where it came from. Officer Gunther says, pro tip I learned early in my IT career. If you want to get free booze, that's the man you need to make friends with. He's got the corporate card. The guy who buys everyone drinks. Yeah. You got so drunk. And that guy just wants to make sure everyone's having a good time, right?
A couple times in my career that I helped people that couldn't speak.
Oh, the sales guy. Sales guy.
Just sitting him in the car and writing notes back and forth, and to understand what they're.
The sales guy. Oh, Patricia's still here. Maghreb Traveler is thanking you for the membership. Patricia went to college for English. Now you own a cleaning company. Yeah, no one knows where they're going to end up in life, really. A sales guy. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Their needs were. And I remember one in particular got out
exactly,
on University
teardrop.
Avenue and
exactly
mouthed the words "thank you" to me
exactly
through the window. I tell you what, there's nothing more fulfilling than to have a person that can't talk mouth the words "thank you" to you because you took the time to. Oh, I remember it was a car accident. They were trying to figure out where their car was going and it was going to get towed because it was total. So most cops, I got to tell you, most cops just want to find a way to help people, and sometimes arresting people is helping victims. There are bad people out here. I mean,
sometimes arresting people helps the people that are being arrested. Like someone who gets arrested for DUI, that could be a real wake-up call for somebody. Like, oh my God, I was driving drunk. Like that could be their wake-up call. Thank God I didn't kill somebody or myself. And maybe they decide to become sober. So even an arrest, it doesn't always have to be a bad thing for the person being arrested.
Let's just cut to it. I mean, there's 50 to 75 hardcore gang members out here that are out here harming people.
No, not SJM.
On a nightly basis. And,
no, he isn't. Look at this mask required.
They need to be incarcerated, but we're talking about 50 to 75 out of thousands and thousands of people in this town. So the numbers are manageable if we're willing to take some actions and some steps to do it. We're over here at Minnehaha Arcade. We're westbound on Arcade. Oh, there goes a gentleman walking in front of us. We're going to drive up Payne Avenue here and then down.
Yep,
down
that's the gas
Arcade.
price back then,
like
$2.07.
I normally start till 10 because
unleaded $2.07.
the activity usually starts around 10 or 10:30. But I see some more text. Remember the number is
We have a caller reporting
hang on.
10 people fighting at the area of Hawthorne and Greenbrier.
All right.
373 GOA, I'll go.
Hawthorne and Greenbrier, 10 people
Copy,
fighting.
373.
That's right by the
10 people fighting
playground up there.
at the playground.
We're gonna head up that way. We're gonna head up that way and Hawthorne and Greenbrier and see who's fighting. Hopefully the fight won't deteriorate.
Hopefully there's no
There goes the
weapons.
squad there. He's headed up there too.
You're in Colorado during the pandemic. Regular at Shell went to $199.
All
Wow.
depends on the nature of the call in terms of whether they go red lights or siren. Truthfully, we'll get there with speed. I have an Opticom on here that we can hold that green light. Oh, I don't know what that is. We got a fire run now too. It's a
Mayhem.
medic going down Phelan Boulevard. We don't
Squad 267.
get all the medic calls. I'll tell you this: in the sheriff's department up in the suburbs, the agencies
Page 25, please.
in the suburbs go on all medicals because they only have a skeleton medical crew. But in St. Paul, because you have the finest medical service in the country right here. I mean, literally the finest medical service and fire department. They handle all the calls, so the police officers are not notified of the medical calls that they're going to. So keep in mind, Hawthorne is 1 block north of Maryland, so that's where we're having. Greenbrier is a block east of Payne, so we're headed up here. See if there's 10 people fighting. I gotta be honest with you, most of the time if it's just a fighting call, they're usually gone
Broken up.
by the time we
Yeah,
get there.
by the time you get there, yeah.
But
Gas got down to $3.50 in California. Oh my God, that's crazy.
the squad's up there ahead of me. He's taking a right. Maybe he decided to go straight to Hawthorne. All right.
Alrighty.
Passing Maryland. See the squad up there taking the right to go
2149.
down to Greenbrier. If you just joined us, we're headed to a fight call. 10 people fighting. Hawthorne and Greenbrier.
Here we go.
What was going on over there? A little fight or what?
What's happening?
Oh, what? Was it you guys? Are there still some people out in the street there? Or? Not, anybody? Would you hear any weapons at all, or anybody threaten anything?
366.
Just a normal fight? Nothing really. All right, thanks a lot.
Sounds like they
Appreciate
were
your help.
involved. Nope, didn't see nothing, didn't hear nothing. Nope, no clue. Nope.
Copy at 21.
Not me.
So, oh, 2 squads out
Squad
here, but
261,
I'm just gonna roll 'em by here.
No response, 2150.
Copy 367.
All good? Thank you.
Okay.
There's 2 parties in fight right now. They're sitting down.
If there was a fight, it's over.
Okay. Looks like you were too slow,
said
Bob.
they're good.
Too slow on that one. That's okay. It's a training opportunity.
Copy, inbound.
We can drive faster next time.
Tell you the other thing we get a lot late at night, we get a lot of street racers at
Oh,
Energy Park
yeah.
Drive.
We know all
They
about
can hear
that. Yes, we do.
Copy, if you can go around the south side to the alley, just in case they try to book it. Copy. 631, what do they have?
2-1, you're
Come
on
on.
3.
Officer Gunther.
We'll run
Yeah.
back to the west sector here. Sounds like a little bit busy over there.
I watched a pretty good one the other
On the
day.
west side, on the university area.
They're always so feisty. Sovereign
2-1, what do
citizens.
they have in west?
They're always feisty.
423 University for an alarm. There are 2 people inside trying to verify
Do a bingo night.
if there's anyone supposed to be there.
Donut use to sovereign citizen bingo.
Squad 166.
Westbound
stream?
on Maryland here at
Donut?
166.
Edgerton.
Per TC, the caller is not the owner, just one of the managers.
All right.
Donut operator? Is that a channel?
166 are walking out.
His nickname's Donut? Oh, I've never heard of the channel. Oh, yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah, we could do that. Why not? I mean, they're entertaining. Oh my God. Once you know what to listen for,
All right, well, it's 8 minutes to 10.
that is a good bingo one. Yeah.
Fortunately, things get busier after 10.
Like they don't need driver's licenses, they don't need car
That'll
registrations,
happen tonight, but
they're not driving, they're traveling.
It's a shooting here 2 nights ago at the Speedway here.
Jeez. Oh, it was way violent back then, huh?
Arkwright,
Would
Maryland.
use the air fryer for frozen food always.
Meow. Romantic cat face emoji. Sita tipped $1.99 through Super Chat. Because we're a men nicer. Heart suit emoji.
Thank
Owl
you.
Emoji.
Thank you, Meowsita. That's very nice. Thank you so much. But you're gonna have to get out of my town.
It's a chest. Get out of my town.
Thank you, Meowsita. Yeah, their vessel. Yes, traveling in their vessel. So it looks like we have about 20 minutes. I'm going to put them on 1.25. My dog wants to go out. I'm going to leave you with Bob for just a moment while I do that.
Manager and see what any of
The victim here got shot in the head, went through his cheek and in the arm, and he actually had been shot once before over on 600 block of Charles. Not a good sign, of course. But fortunately, he did not die. Otherwise, we would have had our 19th homicide of the year in St. Paul. Crossing back over the freeway, you can see the traffic is starting to build. People are out and about, moving around. You know, a lot of people going places. Tomorrow, the mask law does come into effect. You don't have to wear them when you're outside socially distancing, but when you're in a restaurant, going to and from your table, you have to have it on any public spaces that you're in, that you're not eating or drinking. And masks will have to be on.
Name of Opti.
I don't think there's going to be strict enforcement, but it will help reduce the spread. We all got to get behind getting this spread stopped. So the big thing is keep your 6 to 8 foot distance, and if you can't, make sure you got a mask on so your breathing particles don't affect anybody else. We're going to drive down Rice Street. I don't think we've been down Rice Street yet. We crossed it. Show you our substation there. Show you where Mezzie Ross was shot and killed there at Rice and Winnipeg. I would say if there's any one spot that has the majority of shots fired, it's Rice and Winnipeg. And so our gang unit does an awesome job. I mean, there's St. Paul gang unit is monitoring it as often as they can, but it's a tough crew down there. There's some days that I don't even feel safe driving down Winnipeg when the crowd of gangsters are out there in the street doing their business. You know, you need to have a partner down there. So we're gonna go south on Rice Street. Got the turn signal on here. Yeah, we'll wait a cycle. Well, Rice Street hasn't really been, outside of Rice and Winnipeg and Manitoba, where we had a house full of gangsters there that lived in that area, and now they kind of returned. Rice Street has been relatively safe. Like I said, most of our shots fired shootings over in Frogtown, between Western and Lexington, north of the freeway. And then over here on the east side where we just came from, between Minnehaha. You know, sadly, if I sit down in Minnehaha and Forest or Earl for a couple hours on any given night, there's a good likelihood I'll hear some shots fired. It doesn't mean someone will get shot. It's just that there's a preponderance of gunplay. Sometimes it's celebratory. But We usually do have some type of shooting after a funeral of someone that was shot and killed by another faction. I mentioned to you earlier, for those of you that are on there, that we began the show over at the reception for Bajan Adams, who was shot and killed here at Western and Concordia. And there's a lot of hurt feelings, as you can imagine. So we're in Central District. I'm going to switch us to Channel 2. You'll still hear some of the broadcast. Oh, I got to recommend this, Dar's Double Scoop. If you ever get a chance to stop here at Dar's. How's everybody? How's the ice cream? Is Kevin in there? The owner? You tell him Fletcher said hi. Best ice cream ever. Oh, here he goes. You got a guy. It's 3 minutes to 10. He's serving the community ice cream. He's not afraid to be open. It's seriously one of the best vendors there. Dar's Double Scoop on Rice Street. Say hi to Kevin.
We're back.
Mama's Pizza, of course. Tony cooks the best pizza in town here.
Does he?
On the right. And we're going to get down here to Rice and Winnipeg. Our continued hot spots.
Yeah, crime has fallen drastically since we've been on patrol. It's true.
Nothing else seen or heard.
4 shots heard at the Lewis Apartments in Marion. That's just 2 blocks west of where we're at here. We'll slide over there too. But let me see, some Lawrence Bar. How's it going? Everybody all good? Lawrence Bar on Rice Street. Sometimes we have cameras up here. We're going to drive down Winnipeg. Oh, there's a camera right here. Either police department or sheriff's department. Got a camera on our right. That's the police department camera. We've used ours just to keep an eye on these guys.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody here tonight, so.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Except for this person.
How's your night going? Good. I love it. Beautiful weather, huh? So, Winnipeg is clear. For some of those gang unit guys that are monitoring this broadcast, Winnipeg is clear.
Okay, Winnipeg is clear.
So, I'll turn around here in a minute. Take a few more
I'm clear.
questions.
I'll take your suspicious on Van Buren and check the area.
Suspicious call over on Van Buren.
Both sides are getting a second call now, but nothing further other than they heard 4 shots.
We're going to drive over to the Lewis area.
So if you weren't here on Friday, we did get an update on Bebe. Bebe has been prescribed Prilosec because she was regurgitating her food, and she's been fed like 6 meals a day, like small meals, and they went down to like 4 or 5 meals, and it's still happening. So that's where she's at for now. It sounds like, I guess her eye is all set now.
All right, let me just go. I'm pulled over now. I got some questions here for me.
And Bebe is a
What's the most
canine
rewarding part of the job?
in training.
I explained it, just being there to help people. I mean, there's nothing better than just being there to help people. Let me see what else.
She is a good girl, very good girl. A young girl,
I don't
too.
know the names of who people are, but...
Jeez, look at that car. Zooming off.
Why did I decide to become an officer? That is a great story. Glad you asked that. And then somebody wants me to drive down Timberlake. Timberlake. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna drive down Timberlake while we're talking. But the police officer story is a funny story. I was at Hamlin University. And
on a couple blocks.
First of all, I went to Hamlin to be a doctor. And after 2 years of mixing chemicals in organic chem lab and analytic chemistry, I said, this sitting up and watching everybody else out the window play softball, I wanted a job working with people. So I went to my advisor, Dr. Harrigan, and I said, what can I do that would be more people-oriented? And he said, well, have you thought about being a lawyer? And I said, yeah, I enjoy that. So I checked in with my parents, of course, and they said it'd be fine if you switched from being a doctor to a lawyer. And I graduated in a pre-law program in political science and government. And I was down at the Burger King on University and Fry. It's not there any longer, but for those of you who remember it, there was a sign on the wall that said police officers wanted. And the person I was with said, hey, Bob, you should be a police officer. And to be honest with you, I never thought about it. And he said, no, you would be a good one. So frankly, I took the test in November of 1976.
Wow.
John Harrington was in the Civic Center with
Flight
me.
287.
There was 1,981 people.
Ooh.
Go ahead.
And
Wow.
by May of the next year when I was graduating from Hamlin, they offered me a job.
Huh.
And to be honest with you, my parents thought, no way. They wanted me to be a lawyer.
You graduated
So I
from
promised them
Hamlin,
that I would go back to
Yavsita?
Willie
That's
Mitchell
funny.
part-time while I was a police officer. I got to tell you what happened.
Did you know
I fell in love
Bob?
with the work. I never felt like it was work.
Well, there you
and I
go.
just enjoyed every minute of it. So, never went back to law school.
I don't know,
Thought
Becky,
I would, but didn't.
if it will,
And,
about Bay Bay. I hope, I don't
so,
know.
It was
Didn't
really,
really say.
it was an outreach program to try to hire people from the city. That it was a sign that I happened to see. So, I don't know. It's funny how life did. But here's the point. Here's the most important point. I couldn't get hired today because back then they let people of different degrees and different experiences get hired. Now we have a very narrow pool of people that we can hire from. So people that are looking for career changes or went to college in a different field, even mental health. I mean, wouldn't it be great if we could hire people with mental health degrees or addiction degrees? But we can't because they have to have a 2-year law enforcement degree. And so one of the things I want to do is broaden the pool of who we can actually hire, so we can get some of those additional skill sets
That would be good.
in there. But if it was today, I couldn't get hired. You know, speaking of those shots fired, you know, the controversy last year about ShotSpotter. You know, Minneapolis has it. It's a great tool, and ShotSpotter can tell whether or not it's fireworks or real guns. It can even tell if the type of
That's
the
interesting.
type of caliber, and it can tell if there's more than one gun involved.
Oh.
And here's finally the amazing thing about ShotSpotter technology: it can tell you if the gun is moving while it shoots, so we can tell whether it's a drive-by or a walk-by.
Really?
But if the echo of the round is moving while it's in a car, it'll tell us, and it'll tell us which way it was shooting, and we'll know, you know, within 30 seconds that shots have been fired.
I wonder how
versus
reliable
now
that
when we
is.
Fall in, it's at least 2.5 minutes till we get.
I've never heard that spoken about in a
So
court case
I
ever.
wanted to mention that as well.
Interesting.
So we're gonna drive by down Timberlake, and I got a request to drive down there. I got to tell you, I started working in the McDonough homes with the Hmong community back in 1990 when I was in charge of the juvenile unit. And back then we had the White Tigers and Cobra gangs forming. And so we started a Boy Scout troop in McDonough. Rich Stratka was a commander, sergeant at St. Paul, but a commander retired, ran the troop. And we started a reading program eventually there as well. But the point is, there's a lot of immigrant kids in a lot of these poor neighborhoods that we can save if we help them when they're elementary school and junior high, before they slip into the gang life that becomes the alternative. But McDonough's always...
366.
Hang on one second. McDonough Homes has always been a place for people to transition.
That's 5 to assist. We have a silent alarm covering glass break at 1546 Street East, Harding Senior High School.
High school?
No visual.
Silent
There's a visual
alarm.
of a vehicle in the main parking lot.
Copy.
So they got alarm at Harding High School.
382.
There's a car in the parking lot. Glass breakage. Obviously, that's way over by White Bear and 6th Street, so nowhere near us.
386.
As we're going up Jackson here to Timberlake. On the right here, McDonough Homes.
You can clear my GOA. Send me that one.
Copy, Chief.
A couple months ago, right, we were here for, there was a homicide in the parking lot. I'm going to drive there right where it was. It was a terrible scene. And I don't remember his name. I can look it up here and remind you, but I can show you where it was. And it was a lot of people were unhappy and yelling and angry. We ended up having 50 to 60 police officers here to secure the scene. It's right here off of Timberlake and Jackson, where that car is. That's where the gentleman's body was.
Oh.
He had been at a party.
Oh my God.
His home to our right and had an argument. But Dan Salkalowski, who used to be working at the sheriff's office, he texted me and said he wanted to drive through, drive down Timberlake for old time's sake. So here we are, Dan, and a lot of people made the jump to mainstream America from right here.
Baby might be faking. That's a possibility.
Coach soccer out on the fields here as well with our young kids.
Yeah, it's possible.
Dan was a dispatcher, returned deputy, good friend at the sheriff's office, and then he retired. Pretty quiet here. But like I said, back in the 90s, we had the proliferation of Asian gangs. And what we did then is that was the beginning of the forming of, actually it started in the late 80s, ACOP, a community outreach program. And as you'll see, St. Paul has several cars here. So they have their community outreach program headed out of this McDonough community center.
Oh, okay.
And I gotta give a shout out if anybody knows John Gutzman, the executive director of St. Paul Public Housing. John Gutzman is one of the finest human beings I've run across. Just does an outstanding job managing the facilities and employees, and I gotta tell you, we're just so lucky to have some of the best public housing that there is. So in a couple minutes here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop episode 1 and we'll start right up with episode 2. I hate to do that to you, but we want to keep these videos
on the same night.
length.
Oh wow!
I was hoping to keep them an hour long.
Oh, well, that went out the window pretty fast, huh?
Episode 2 right away.
Okay.
We start here. So, McDonough Homes, Timberlake, Dan, I hope I did it justice.
What do you think of this, going retro?
Mount Airy, of course, is you go far enough south on Jackson, you run into Mount Airy. And
it's not quite as exciting as like live.
People,
but it is good. I like hearing the history of how this all came together.
Now, of course, our latest immigrant community is the Somali community and a Karen community.
You like it? Yeah.
The Sheriff's Youth Literacy Program is working to help the Karen community.
Interesting to see how things evolved.
This last winter we started a hockey program.
Thank you, Sarah Philly.
So, I am going to turn on this street here, stop the camera, and get it set up for episode 2. Thank you so much for watching, and I don't even know how many people were actually on, but it's very kind of you to listen to me, and I'll take a look at the questions here while we stop too. As you can tell, I'm pulling the camera out.
Alrighty. Okay. Wow. Very interesting. Yeah, I'm interested to see how things have evolved, like with crime and like how they do live on patrol. It's not much different than how they do it now. But yeah, interesting. Yeah, I'm curious to see. Some of them are long. They didn't keep to the 1 hour thing, like long at all. Like it. Thank you, Becky W. Kat says it's bedtime, then you know it's bedtime for sure. My doggos, they told me it was bedtime a couple hours ago. Thank you, A. Popovich. Yeah, it's interesting, huh? Deputy Anna Gags. Everybody, please hit the thumbs up on your way out. And thank you so much for joining me for a little impromptu training. It makes us better deputies going forward in the future. Okay, everyone. Thank you, and I will see you soon. Good night.